Welcome back to Criticlysm, ladies and gents, where we spotlight indie films and home releases and also take a look at other critics you might be missing. I'm Matt Rowe, as you know, and if you like what we do here, make sure you give us some thumbs up, ring the subscription bell, and stick around to the end where I'll be reading and responding to recent comments. I've published 4 pieces in the interim since the last episode, so let's waste no time getting into them. First, over on Film Threat, we've got the feature film Blindsided, also known as Darker Than Night, where B. Santos plays a newly blinded woman who has to grapple with an unhinged mind during her friendship getaway. I write, while it is obvious what the filmmakers wanted to make and what trump cards they wish to employ, I mostly know that because the characters exposit for nearly 2/3 of all existing dialogue, and the visual allusions to what is coming are about as subtle as a knife in the eye. I also published a review of the short film Start With Half, where an elderly grandparent and their queer grandchild are spending an evening together splitting a chocolate weed muffin. I wrote, while taking no great strides in storytelling or breaking any particular filmic convention, Start With Half is a warming story of overcoming our own preconceptions and finding new avenues by which we can approach life at any stage. Though I'd give Blindsided a hard pass, Start With Half really is worth its brisk runtime, but both of these movies and the reviews are linked below. And now we scoot over to Under the Radar magazine, where I've published a pair of Blu-ray reviews, both from Kino Lorber's Classics collection and both from the French New Wave. First up is the infamous Left Bank film Last Year at Marienbad, which I wrote. The film impresses as if an oil painting of European high society from the 18th century had come to life, though while its figures walked and talked as people would, they are unable to recognize their own humanity and thus equally unable to connect to one another. This is one of the most divisive films ever released by the French New Wave, so generally you'll either love it or hate it with a passion. I happen to be in the former camp. I think it's phenomenal, and the supplemental features available on the Blu-ray makes it well worth the buy. And finally, I reviewed the latest pressing of Jean-Luc Godard's Alphaville. I write, it screams old school noir while positing new scientific ideas and filmic techniques vastly alien to the genre. And such a sublime experiment of hard-boiled thrillers combining with science fiction wouldn't succeed on the same scale until the release of Ridley Scott's Blade Runner in 1982. Alphaville is one of my all-time favorite sci-fi films, and I will gladly fight for its honor. It's also easily the best Let Me Caution movie that has been made to date. Both of these Blu-rays and the reviews are linked beneath me. And that's it for me this week, my dude, so let's slide on into the public sphere and check out another film critic making some great work. That isn't another Joker video analysis essay, because I am done looking at them. Over on YouTube, we've got the channel YouHaveBeenWatchingFilms and their latest video, Haine, Collision of Values. Haine, literally translated to hate, is a 1995 French black and white drama starring the incomparable Vincent Cassel. YouHaveBeen breaks down the dichotomy and conflicting and contradictory values at play within the character dynamics, contextualized against the riots and social unrest permeating every facet of the narrative. They do this while also exploring motivations and underlying emotional states behind each of the main characters, which are buttressed by the film's iconic visual style. This essay is a perfect introduction to the themes at play within the film, and it gives me another reason to go back and revisit it. And also another note, this channel just put out a video on Last Year at Marienbad like a week or so ago, so that's another reason to give this channel a go. Video link beneath me. And as we wrap up, we've got a couple of comments from y'all that we'd like to respond. Andrew Daffern wrote on our ShitFlix episode of Beyond the Black Rainbow, I felt like the director wanted us to feel like the girl who had been sedated and experimented on her whole life. Time is weird and nothing seems to make sense and events don't flow together, which is probably how the girl felt. As she escapes and the drugs wear off, everything starts to clear up. Andrew, that is a very valid take on many of the possible perspectives at play within the film, though considering that the movie does not always follow Elena's perspective and so much emphasis is put on Niall and on his transformations even when he's undergoing psychedelics, I feel like an individual perspective is not the main driving force behind a lot of the nonsensicalness of the film's facets, though it could be that all of these people are mental representations in Elena's mind, so you never know. Novagats responded to our most recent film review episode where we gave him a shout out. I actually will be releasing a second video essay on Hereditary soon. Won't be as positive as my Drive one, but I think my analysis is something that really isn't talked about much on YouTube, at least from what I've seen. Nova, I'd be really interested in your take on the film. I am a huge Ari Aster fan, especially since I saw The Strange Thing About the Johnsons, so I'll be waiting with bated breath to see what you come up with. And considering how divisive Hereditary is, we might come to blows, but honestly, anything less might be insulting to the film's discourse. And finally, Emerald Phoenix wrote on our ShitFlix episode for Atlantis Milo's Return, Disney should really reboot Atlantis or bring it back. No. And that is it, my people. Thank you for hanging with me into the end. If you've checked out the movies, the reviews, the others I've mentioned, let us know your thoughts in the comments section. All of our socials and Patreon are in the script, and I'll check y'all next week. Until next time.
possible by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.